Hi, so a video I wanted to make because of something that came up is on um, looking outside of ourselves or unity consciousness. It's about unity consciousness. So people say, oh, all is one and we're all one and, we're all part of source, we're all God. But, saying that is one thing, and actually understanding that and what that means is something different, because all is one is understanding that we're one source experiencing itself in different ways. So this means that everything is part of one source and was chosen for the experience of creation. So everything you see, that's why judgment is separation consciousness and not unity consciousness, because when you judge something, you're not seeing it as part of the one source. You're seeing it as something separate, because you're seeing it as kind of wrong and not as part of the experience of you as one source experience. So that's why judgment is something that keeps you out of unity consciousness, but also is believing in anything outside of yourself, because sure, to say mine, etc., is ownership and ego, because if you say like my body, that's kind of really also separation consciousness, because the bodies that we have are just for, they're not what we are, they're just what we've chosen for the experience in this moment. But actually what's real is just the soul and part of the one source. So actually, by identifying too much with, that we're here, we're in a body, so we have to utilize that, but at the same time it's without the attachment, because really the body that we're in isn't who we are. It's part of our identity, and identity is part of our ego. So who we really are is all part of one source. So that's the truth and the reality, and the rest is really part of ego consciousness and part of separation consciousness. So, when you start to get really, really deep with what's unity consciousness versus what's separation consciousness, that you really start to go down the rabbit hole. I mean, it blows my mind. I got into this conversation today with a friend of mine. He sent me a video, and the guy was talking about how if we say my body, that's ego, because our body doesn't belong to us, our body belongs to God. And I said, but, that's actually not true, because that's saying God is something outside of ourselves, when we are God, we are all one, and that's unity consciousness. And that's how this little thought came up that I wanted to share. It's how deep can you go with unity consciousness? Because to say, oh, all is one, but I hate Trump and he's this annoying character, is actually not unity consciousness, because we created him into the experience because we wanted to experience it, and actually there's no right or wrong or judgment. And I still judge, I still have opinions, but actually even opinions is really separation consciousness, because it's anything that separates you from other people is separation consciousness. And opinions are a huge source of separation. And I still do it myself. I haven't stopped doing it yet, but I'm aware of it, and I'm beginning to see really clearly how opinion does create separation, because it creates like differences, judgment, or if you don't believe the same as me, then you're wrong and you're this. And I mean, for me, this whole thing with the Trump situation is like amazing. I'm just watching it unfold, and it's like, wow, it makes things even clearer, and you can sort of see all the patterns and templates clearer. So, from a kind of higher consciousness level, I just find it really interesting and exciting to watch, and how it's bringing so much up. But yeah, you can't really say that you believe we're all one in unity consciousness, but you don't like this person, or you don't like this person, or you don't like this, or you don't like the fact that we've got all these houses, or that we've got cars now, or computers, or iPhones, because, you know, we all created this as one source, and we're all just choosing to, like, you know, as one source, we're choosing to experience all these different realities and creations. So I mean, I'm still on the cusp of going into this myself, you know, and it's really like entering the rabbit hole when you really, really start to realize the level of unity consciousness and what all is one means. Because there's a long time where you can go around saying all is one, and yeah, I believe in we're all part of one source, but then to actually put that into action and believe it, and to understand the entirety of that, is a huge other part. And that's just where I'm getting to now, and I'm sort of seeing it all, you know. Also, by looking outside of yourself, you know, not only, I've already talked about the readings loads of times, and, you know, channelings and all these things, but also, you know, asking the universe to deliver stuff, to bring you stuff, to ask God to bring you stuff, to pray to God, to, you know, law of attraction, all of that stuff is actually not seeing yourself as the creator, as part of the one, as part of the one source. And it's not seeing your own power that you have. You have all the unity consciousness power to create, you know, when you really come into here. So when you're too busy like asking someone else to bring you stuff into your life, you're not realizing that actually you are God. You don't have to ask God. You don't have to ask like the guys. You don't have to ask the universe, because it's in you, it's in here. Union, it's not like something outside of ourselves. Union is in here. And that's what union consciousness and you know, all union and all is one, it means it's all here. And you know, this union that we want to try and bring in, it's all here too. And it's when you realize that it's all here too that things really shift, because you realize that understanding that all is one, and you are the creator or complete creator of your reality, that you are the creator of your twin flame experience as well. Like, it's not, you're not waiting for somebody, it's not like an external experience, you're not, you know, having to do stuff, you know, you are kind of creating or co-creating your twin flame experience here. And then whatever you're creating in here then is reflected in your outer experience as part of the one collective. But yeah, understanding we are all one and we are all God is a really big part of this journey, and a really hard part to grasp beyond just saying we're all one. And I think that this period is a great opportunity to put that to the test, because there's no time like now as when there's so much bombardment of opinions and judgments, you know. And Trump is a blessing, because he's just bringing so much to the surface, you know. It's unbelievable. And even though I'm not triggered by it at all, I don't have any trigger to Trump whatsoever, you know, I'm still engaging sometimes in opinions on it. And actually, even though I'm seeing from a higher perspective, that I can see the dynamics, and I can see the triggers and the shadow reflection, and him being a representation of, you know, mass consciousness, I'm still wanting to kind of go in there and show people that, so that they can understand and they can wake up. And that's my own ego, because I'm trying to save people, or I'm trying to subconsciously win and say, you know, I know the truth. So, you know, it's like catching yourself out all the time. And that's where I am now, really. It's like knowing all the things that are keeping me in separation consciousness, but I'm still trying to begin to integrate them, because it's such a huge thing to really, truly integrate and understand what unity consciousness is versus separation consciousness. But But yeah, any of this kind of asking something else outside of you to create your experience, that's separation consciousness. And all this opinion stuff is separation consciousness, because, you know, if you really dig deep, there's some ego there, because, you know, to share a post is with something you resonate with, you know, is kind of one thing, but then really to kind of state an opinion beyond that, there's probably some ego in it, really. And I know there is when I dig deep on my own side. And certainly if there's any kind of even small judgment there behind it, because, you know, actually, really it's about empathy. It's not about opinions and judgment. It's actually more about understanding where everyone is on their journey and what they're choosing to experience as part of the one soul, as part of us. And that's hard. Sometimes I feel like I've entered the endless rabbit hole now, and it can only keep getting deeper. But yeah, that they are the things that are really going to help kind of throw us into unity consciousness. And I really believe that's where union lies. It lies in understanding, really truly understanding what unity consciousness and all is one actually is.